Well, hello to all you very fine and wonderful people across all forms of the information superhighway. My name is Sam and I would like to welcome you all to today's episode of the weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where for another week you'll be delving into all forms of content for new releases, trailers and news to cover it all from the last week of entertainment. So let's not waste too much time here, let's get talking all things media that we do have for another week.
Super Mario RPG, Sonic the Hedgehog, Donkey Kong 3.
So we will start off the new releases for this week in the focus of film, and in this case, many of us love the concept of the media format, and many hope to make their name in the industry in some form, from your classics, historical epics, animation, and experimental. But in this case, this will be more in the classic realm of the B-movie monster flicks, and in this case, it will be the cause of a particular group of henchmen creating and solving something on a monstrous scale. As those wacky yellow henchmen are back once more, as we have the release of the third entry of the prequel spin-off series with the film of Minions and Monsters. As says the prequel to the original Despicable Me series and the first of the two Minions films, the new entry will see the Minions in 1920s Hollywood, with some Minions of James, Henry and Ed looking to get into the industry of create their own monster film. Though through the power of some spiritual incantation, they summon a small form of Cthulhu who will help them find some real monsters for their monster movie, and I'm sure everything will work out in the process. Reception of this newest entry of the spin-off series has been surprisingly very well received, and is currently the best reviewed film in the Illumination catalog, with praise in its animation, humor and for the representation to folks that love the medium of cinema, which you can appreciate the effort that was attempted in that regards. If you're up for a little bit of monster fun, you can catch this film out now in cinemas. Our second title this week will be focused on all forms of life. There is a sense of mystery in every form of our daily lives. What will day bring? Is there something positive or lucky going to happen? And as such, there could ever been a focus. But for one biggest mystery this young sleuth will have to solve is the biggest mystery yet: marriage. And in the case of some other forms of mystery, as after a few years since the last entry, we are returning to this new take on the realm of the famous detective, of a new take on the younger sibling, with the release of the third film of the Enola Holmes franchise. Now the film will see Enola preparing for her impending wedding to Lord Tewksbury, but soon becomes a case of being a little more complicated when it discovers that her brother Sherlock Holmes has been kidnapped, and a mystery to rescue him will soon bring things into chaos. The reception of this third film has been mostly received by critics, but a little more mixed by audiences, that while some elements of the performance are done well and praised on it being more close to the books itself, the film's plot of the mystery and some other characters introduced in the title are a little undercooked in translation compared to the other two entries. I'm sure there'll be some sense of appeal down the line. If you want to find the answer to this mystery, you can catch this film out now on Netflix. Our third movie this week is the focus on some communities of where you may live with some neighbours in the building. You may find you've been neglecting a sense of making acquaintances in a way to have some companionship in this complex of a world we live in. But it will soon be gathering. There's a lot of layers to learning about one's neighbours, and the decision to invite them over may not be the best of choices. As Olivia Wilde is back once more to provide a new relatable comedy to us to enjoy with the release of her new film of The Invite. Now based on the original film from a few years ago, the film will focus on Joe and Amanda, played by Seth Rogen and Wilde herself, who seem to be on the rocks of terms of marriage, who decides to invite their enigmatic neighbours of Penelope Cruz and Edward Norton for a dinner party to try and bond with one another, but soon things will spiral into a night that heads into more unexpected places than expected. The reception of this new film has been very well received, with praise in its simple concept and setting, the performances and all the leads, and its humor, reliability, and many, and seen as one of this year's best films so far. If you want to check it out for yourself, so you can catch this film also right now in cinemas. The last of our films this week is one that I've been wondering for the better half of this year when it was going to release in some form, as it was the case of someone that started as a concept to turn into a popular web series and a popular show, and now a popular feature-length film full of madcap capers, time travel, and Canadian hospitality was finally releasing, and being quite a bit limited in their screenings for this around where I'm from. After a fair bit of waiting, we finally have the release of the film of Nirvana, the band, the show, and the movie. And the film will follow the titular band as they try and make an elaborate plan to achieve their dream of booking and playing a show at the Rivoli Theatre that hasn't really gone to plan so far. In this attempt at their most latest stunt soon ends with them on their elaborate and madcap outcome of ending up travelling in time back to the year 2008, and soon some hijinks will surely occur. The reception of this new film has been very highly received, with praise in its concept, performances, humour and concept, and seen as one of the year's best films. If you're up for the movie, the show, of the web series, and of the band, then you can catch this film also out now in cinemas. On the first of two TV shows for this week, we'll be talking to folks the world of going from the big screen to the story of the small screen, of how this icon that proved her name in law and Congress started out in trying to make a name for herself in a new location, and doing so with a whole lot of pink too, as we have the release of the all-new prequel series based in the world of Legally Blonde with the series of Elle. Now set 6 years before the events of the original movie, the series will follow a teenage Elle Woods as she deals with moving to Seattle and having to fit in with a crowd that sees her as an outsider, a look to find herself that will lead her to a path we know her for in the original film of getting into Law and Order. Now reception on this new prequel has been a bit of a mixed to decent reception. As well, the performances of Lexi Mentry as Elle Woods has been seen some praise and really captured the appeal of the original performances by Witherspoon. The sense of nostalgia from prequel approaches and early season stumbles can't be seen present throughout and seen before, but given there's already a second season in the works and some more better reception by the audience side, I'm sure we'll have a chance down the line. If you want to see where it all began, you can catch the full first season now on Amazon Prime. The second of the TV shows for this week will be giving us a fair sense of animation appeal, the fun of Saturday morning cartoons in the modern day, and the return to the focus the realm of high quality superheroes coming back after ending their run a couple of years ago, all to be back for another round of heroics and for them to come to me, my X-Men, as we have the return to the revival of the classic series with the release of season 2 of X-Men 97. The new season will see the members of the X-Men scattered across time and space and must find a way back to the 1990s while also dealing with the impending threats of apocalypse. Meanwhile, some of the members are still in the present, must deal and face off against new foes, continue intolerance against mutants with the absence of some of their more known members. Their receptions to seasons so far, similar to the first season, has been very well received with praise and its appealing animation, enjoyable narrative and character development, and continuing build of the story to the original animated series left off. If you're up for more adventures in the focus, then you can catch the first 3 episodes of this new season now on Disney Plus, with a new episode or 2 releasing every Wednesday. The last of the new releases and the only big game title I can see for this week will be seeing them preparing to move to the beat and get ready to get the tempo and timing done right, as after this decade since the last entry, we have the release of the newest title in the Rhythm Heaven / Paradise series with Rhythm Heaven / Paradise Groove. This new title will be similar to approach to the other entries of the series, where you playing the beat to over 40 different music tracks and levels such as your own unique elements, and focus to build upon, including new additions like co-op games and a rhythm-based RPG. The reception to entry has been well received as well, with praising its music tone, visuals from the title, and interesting new elements introduced in this new entry of the popular series. If you're over some rhythm-based games, then you can play this title now on Nintendo Switch, and is also available to play on Nintendo Switch too. With all that regards now, that's all the new releases we have this week.
And I'm hungry like the wolf.
On the first of the trails this week, we can return to the realm of some narratives and the focus of the return to a genre that pops up here and there, and this is as of late, and that's the realm of the folklore. In this case, where the last time we were given a project where the director was told us to focus a well-known myth of the undead king, this next one will be the focus of a take of a creature that would become present in this world, and all from the rising of a full moon, as coincidentally on the day of the trailer's release was just that, as we have the release of the first look at the upcoming new film from Robert Eggers with Werewolf. In a set of medieval Britain, a mysterious creature becomes a tale that stalks a small foggy countryside that will soon transform local folklore into a terrifying reality as the villagers face an ancient supernatural threat. Now, it's been the case that Eggers really made a name for himself in the realm of some this outlandish but well-made, engaging and unsettling folklore based on films from like The Witch, The Lighthouse, and Nosferatu, and then more of his action-based one with The Northman. That seems like he has a name for himself in the form of making something special in an era where everything is more modern and near identical in some aspects, but it really shows with the project that has a hook and appeal to it all that it can really sell. Now, while not showing too much so far, this definitely has me very interested in seeing the overall outcome of what is to come from all this in the near future. I'm sure it'll be worth seeing this new folklore take of it all and be a better outcome than the sort of the Wolfman of last year that left people wanting more. But I'm sure we'll see in due time when the film releases into cinemas from the high rise of the moon on Christmas Day or around the holiday season. Our second trail this week is in the focus of a new entry of some video game adaptations, and with this next one in focus, one that started off with making something that was based on a title with very little in narrative richness, but turned into a series that has proven itself in being a bit of a success. After a 7-year gap since the last release, it looks like we'll be back to prep the slingshots and to be taking flight, but maybe in a bit of a different approach this time around, for the next entry, as we've gotten the release of the first trailer for the third entry in the Angry Birds movies. In a new film, we'll see Red, again voiced by Jason Sudeikis, about to face his greatest challenge yet, in the form of becoming a father for 3 young hatchlings, while also having to deal with saving the world and his home from outside dangers like the pigs and other threats. So this series of films has been quite the journey over the years, and I'm not lie, but the previous 2 have been very entertaining in some form. They made a decent effort in making a film out of something with very little plot besides throwing birds at pigs and structures via a slingshot. It's a case that did well with the origins and elaborate goofy spy flick 2 in the sequel. Now, we have not much of a focus the overall narrative in this besides the focus of the fatherhood story, but I'm sure we will see an idea of a more bigger focus and for the placing of the casting for some of the other names in this film in due time, and I'm sure it will be worth checking out when the film releases into cinemas from the 23rd of December. The next trailer for this week will give us a case of return to another studio that has been also present this week with the new release in film, but it seems they will be looking forward to what the next from the studio, and it seems we'll be returning back to the realm of the cosmos once more for this new title, with a sense of a series of events, the cosmic visit, and brings together some people finding sparks in a place that you least expect it. As we are back with Illumination once more this week, as we have the first trailer for their next film, entitled Not Alone. And the film will follow Joe, voiced by Chalamet, an introverted mechanic, and Fran, played by Selena Gomez, an astrobotanist who were tasked with creating the first ever plant-fueled rocket. They soon develop immediate chemistry, but they both lack romantic competence. And in amongst the chaos and feelings, Joe, who lives in secluded solitary lifestyle, soon finds himself sheltering three small aliens of Dunk, voiced by Rob Brydon, Welly, voiced by Dan Morgan, and Shrim, voiced by Jamie DiMatteo. The trio is also an interstellar escape from an overzealous officer, Xandro, voiced by Brett Goldstein, and deduced that Fran's rocket will safely get them home. Now, I do say the case that I know the likes of Illumination can be seen as a bit of a simple and not too majorly focused on the bits of animation films, but there is a sense that when they try with originals, there is something similar of some potential and hope present in there. And I can see from this new film they do have some interesting potential here. It's not too reliant on overly goofy or lowbrow humor, and there is a sense I'm interested in seeing a full focus rom-com with the studio, as if other studios have made an attempt with various success, I'm sure this could be the same as well. But I'm sure we can see over time with more footage and for this before the Cosmic Romance will debut into cinemas from the 16th of April next year. Our final trailer for this week will be a focus of being a spin-off from a series of spin-offs that seems to be showing success with many different stories that have seen across the realm of a galaxy far, far away. I'm sure the expanding on this narrative will have its appeal as we have the release of the trailer and look at the upcoming spin-off, the narrative of Star Wars Visions, with the focus of the Ninth Jedi. Now, based on the episodes from the first and third seasons, this series will follow the daughter of a lightsaber smith who's being pursued by dark forces as she makes a delivery to the new crafted sabers across the galaxy and surviving in the process. Now, it's been said that through the likes of the series of Visions with telling new stories in various forms and art styles, there was going to be at least some point of entry in the series getting a full-on length series. Again, similar to what Marvel's What If did with the Zombies episode. And from what I've seen with this series, this has been one of the most success and appeal overall, with another one or two I'm sure we'll get one down the line for those ones. But the visual anime style and continuing story could be an appeal, and has been seen that Star Wars and animation has really been proven success, at least overall in this regards of things. But I'm sure we'll see the outcome for it all in due time, with the new season dropping on the Disney Plus just under a month's time on the 5th of August. And for all that regards now, that's all the trailers we do have this week.
For his neutral special, he wields a gun.
Well, it's that time once again, the focus of delving into the realm of the usual array of media discussion from the weekly serving of the hodgepodge. It will exist this week in the focus of new project announcements and some release dates or two from the last week or so, but I'm sure we'll see what will come from it all, so let's see what will come for us in this week of the media. And we will start with one of the two releases that we're given an update to on that. I forgot about one of these in particular as discussed from last week, as is one of the big announcements that was given to us from the well-established studio at Annecy. Given that we are returning to the franchise in a year's time, this follow-up is coming to us very soon after, as it was announced that the planned spin-off from the Shrek focus series on Donkey has also got an official release date, with the film now set to drop on June 30th, 2028, 1 year after the release of Shrek 5. Now, while we've not got much of a deep analysis of what to expect from the brief description, has been telling the origins of how Donkey became Donkey in this series. And I'm sure we'll get more of an idea of what to get close to release after the next upcoming film. Now, I do wonder in some form if this will go into the same visual style as the more recent title or earlier films, or even another unique animation style akin to like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I also wonder if it'll be a story that will take place around the time of the other films as well, or stay as its origins, or if any other characters will make an appearance. It's most likely a case, I think one of the characters has been sort of alluded to and how he was talking about bits and points throughout the series is with Pinocchio, but we don't know at this point yet. But I'm sure we'll see closer to release in about 2 years time, but if any new news comes about this, then I will provide you of course in a later episode. The last of release dates will be return to some popular and high octane action and adaptations of a popular series and novels, and we'll see a return of some big muscle once more. As was confirmed, we have an official release date for the 4th season of the popular series of Reacher, with it now set for release on August 12th, but was however not the only project, as was planned the spin-off of the series based on the character of Neegly has also been confirmed, with the spin-off now set for release a month later on the 16th of September, which will start after the weekly release of the new season before that spin-off drops all at once on that date. It's an interesting one, I feel, in any form of focus, that there's plenty of appeal and entertainment from this series and plenty of narrative elements to pull from that I'm sure will be an interesting watch to see by its release in the future. Now, I need to get a catch up on the show and to see all the appeal of it all at some point, but I guess I can get around to checking it all out by the start of this double show watch when it starts in a month's time in this particular instance on Amazon Prime. Now from release dates to project announcements, this first one will bring us back to once more repeating the focus of the realm of video game adaptations, and it seems in this case that the concept could work, but in the format may be a bit of a concern, especially in when it was being distributed, as it will be time for another action in due course, as it was announced that the live action anime based on the popular gaming series of Persona is in the works, and that this anime will be distributed and released onto Netflix. Now this will be not the first of the gaming adaptations that we have made into a series on the streamer, as least we forget that Netflix has done some success in the animation scene with the likes of Cuphead, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Captain Laserhawk, and League of Legends Arcane. I'll be down to see what their take on the Assassin's Creed series will entail in due course in the live action format. The most big concern of all this comes down to the approach of going from the anime to live action, and this with Netflix, as the track record of anime adaptations from this streamer has not been the best, with the only success so far being the adaptation of One Piece, as others like Death Note, the recent Avatar series, Cowboy Bebop, and Fullmetal Alchemist, just to name a few, have had less than successful attempts in appeal and adaptation. Now I still think they could turn it around in all forms, but maybe a fully animated anime style in the unique and visual art form of the video game series than just a live action format, because I worry if this is a fumble, then it could affect the appeal of the series in the process. Now I'm sure we'll see what will come to all about this title when in some form down the line, but I guess we'll see the project in due course. But if I hear anything new about this in regards to things, I'll let you know in a later episode. So moving over to some new project announcements, and in the case of these next two ones, it seems they'll be looking over to the realm of the deep dark reaches of the internet for these new projects, and with this first one I feel a bit more of an obscure one, and maybe the timing of his planned project concept could be a little dated. But it was announced that Warner Bros. Will be making a new horror film based on the creepypasta cryptid creature of Siren Head. The film will be written by Weapons director Zach Krieger and No One Will Save You writer and director Brian Duffield. Now while I can give some faith with these two in the production and writing, as I felt both have done some decent projects and concepts of the unsettling and supernatural, the one caveat is wondering if the appeal of the creepiness of this cryptid creepypasta is still relevant, as I know the character was first created by nearly a decade ago back in 2018, but really popped off in popularity around 2022 or so, and since then this sort of came and went, so the approach of this appeal would be a major question. The one film that will probably be majorly compared to is with the 2018 title of Slender Man, that was also a creepypasta creature and whose film was less than stellar in appeal and ended up a massive disaster. That and from the drama of getting it made, especially with the character causing a near murder of a real girl in 2014 caused by some crazy children. Now, I'm sure it could work in the likes of this unsettling sounds and some interesting approach to scare and spooks. I'm sure we'll have to be seeing what will come about this project down the line. Now, we have no idea when we expect this, but I'm sure once we hear anything about this, I'll let you know in a later episode. But staying on the internet horror for just a moment, it looks like we'll be delving back into the realm of horrors and creatives found amongst the pages of YouTube. As well, we have been seeing the mass success of a young filmmaker, this concept of the world found from no clipping outside our reality, and back again with an all-new extended cut of the film with an extra 60 minutes of footage attached to the end of the credits of the film, and another with one being well-wished going a little too far. It looks like another young creator will be giving us a take on the popular creepypasta and analog horror a big screen treatment. It looks like we'll also be getting a little bit of help from a well-known filmmaker, as was reported this week that Amazon will be developing a film based on the popular YouTube series of the Mandela Catalogs, with the original creator Alex Kister attached to direct, and the project being produced by the father of the summer blockbuster, Steven Spielberg. Now, for those that may not be familiar with the series, it's set in a fictional location in Mandela County, Wisconsin, that is known for being a location swarmed and invaded by shape-shifting and near-immortal creatures known as alternates that will stalk and torture their victims to the point of them leading to take their own lives and take on their own form of doppelgangers. The concept stuff was pretty well done. From the series I've seen on this since its inception all the way back in 2021, it's a clear case that there's a small form like YouTube that can work in small doses. But the concern is the case if it worked in a full-fledged film format would be a lot more to debate on have to have or can work and how it will come about in general. But if the backrooms prove it can be done, then I'm sure it will be worth seeing how something like this can be done well too. Now, similar to the first in a horror story, I have no idea as to yet when we can expect this title as well, so once I hear anything about this, I'll let you know in a later episode in this particular instance. But what do you make of all these stories? Do you see the Donkey spin-off staying on the release date or moved to a later time? Are you excited for another season of Reacher? Will the live action Persona be a success, or should it be an animated anime instead? Do you see a Siren Head film or a Mandela Catalog movie working out for the big screen, or feel the appeal of both have sailed and should be a YouTube based projects? Let me know what you think of all these down below in the comments. Okay, so I often try to keep things a bit more positive in this channel and try to avoid most complaints and ordeals of negative outcomes, but this story that dropped earlier this week has been one whose decision on their choice has not been the most positive at all, and since the announcement, a tidal wave of negative reactions and concerning responses has hit the internet, and I thought this would be an ordeal from a week ago about the biggest game of the year's release method being really dumb and affecting my appeal of playing the tell, but I have to wonder if it was to do with this. As announced back on Wednesday, the PlayStation and Sony announced as of January 2028, they will no longer be making and releasing PlayStation titles with physical discs, essentially making it all become a digital-only format. Now, the thing that was being accepted by many was clearly an oversight from the company because so many people have come out against the decision, as many see this as being a continuing concern, the mantra floating around of "you will own nothing and you will be happy," seen with the movements of Stop Killing Games and other forms, in this case where we will have a similar complaints from a fair amount of people last week with the GTA 6 pre-order on the physical side came out about not having a disc and it being a code in a box. Now there is reports posing case there might be possibly ones with discs coming along the line, but it's currently unclear or if that whole email was just, a fake. This also didn't help that they are looking to be all digital, that in the same day announced that the stores of the PS3 and Vita will be shutting down by the middle of next year. In the case that this last week announced that over 550 films will be removed from the PlayStation Store due to licensing issues, and include for those that purchased them with no compensation, refund or alternative backup, which really makes their outcome that more confusing in all this. Now the reasoning for them saying that the case is 85%, not sure where they pulled this number from, of players on PlayStation play on digital, but it seems like that's not the most accurate of outcome, as it was revealed that from the unfortunate Insomniac hack from 3 years ago that the numbers may be inflated, seen from more than 60% of players that bought and played both Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2 played by a physical disc, and even with some other titles like over 50% for both God of War Ragnarok and Astrobot each being similar, and some suggest this percentage is from indie titles and games with difficult means to obtain physical copies or never had a physical release to begin with the subscription DLC and other aspects like that. Now my own thoughts on this, like many others from the studios working with the brand and even some creatives like Kojima himself, have been very critical of this decision, as I really do not see why they think this is a good idea at all. If you may not know, I always will push and go for more of the physical media, as I prefer to have something to have physically bought and own instead of being locked by an account that could be easily deleted if I'm not touched in about 36 months, or be hacked and lose access to a library I spent hundreds if not thousands on, just disappearing like that, and see this as a very greedy practice to pay even more games that are already overly pricey enough on the digital stores. And physical and second-hand were a lot more affordable in that regards of things. And them already discussing points about the next generation console in this economy is actually so greedy and money hungry for them to do this. Now since they have gone radio silent on all their platforms, but some elements have been spotted over the last few days, and many have assumed they are staying quiet until the ordeal of Xbox on Monday is covered to try and take the heat off them. But even with this being concerned, I would still be seen as a big old mess that I do hope they will reverse the decision on, because I do not see how this will be sustainable, and this process will lose a lot of players that love gaming on their systems, and just hope this will not be the end of physical media. But what are your thoughts on this? Are you in agreement with PlayStation, or do you think this whole ordeal has been a massive mess and they need to kind of reverse track on that? Let me know what you think down below with the comments on this, and with all that regards, that's all the news we have for this week.
Godspeed, Wolverine!
And in case with all of that, it ends episode 163 with my newsroom and home room runnings for, I'm probably going to say about 20 minutes or so. I'm going to fly through this quick update stuff and let you know what's coming on the channel. So reviews wise, I'm going to actually get to finishing the Last of Us review this week, get to writing it, then I'm going to start TADC and maybe some other stuff, like maybe some more films and other shows. I think like 2 shows should be fine, then get us a couple of films, at least get onto that cards of things. So okay, some snacks, these boxes ones, a few other ones I can throw onto the list of things. Like I can throw Master Universe on that list as well, because I actually saw it on the weekend, and yeah, people slept on that movie. It's actually very good. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, we'll see more cases of that, different genres, variations of things like that, so look forward to those. Gameplay stuff, I have a few more VODs I'm going to try and like upload and compress into and upload on my channel of the Tomodachi Life stuff. And in the case of things, I will get back to doing some more Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Wonder, Cyberpunk, and Star Wars. This was a case of some other titles from like different franchises and series like Tomb Raider, Mass Effect, Alan Wake, Resident Evil, and a few other ones coming along, so look forward to those. I'll probably just maybe either hold some of the ones I had series on, do onto like playthroughs or streams. I'll figure them out. So in case with long form stuff, we have the AI choice video still coming along, the rewatch font still coming along. The time-lapse build should hopefully be up by the time this episode goes out. Hopefully, I think I have it just finished and ready to go. I'm currently streaming another time-lapse builds that I'm probably going to build on the stream and export them and make a time-lapse, which is going to be on the new Pikachu set that came out back in February. But yeah, that one's coming along eventually. Plus some other stuff like Horror Spore and other variations of long-form stuff, so look forward to those down the line. But with all that regards now, and then the episode there for now. So if you like what you see here, want to see more from me, more frequently, simply like, subscribe. I also new stuff every single week. Hope to aim for 750,000 subs, and I've seen a few people slowly come to join the channel, so I appreciate you checking out my stuff. stuff. Some bits of subscriptions go up and down kind of thing. I might look into some bits about promotion on some of these videos, but I'll look down the line in regards to things. But yeah, thank you for all tuning in and watching my stuff in regards to stuff. If you want to get 10% off pure crack, use my code Sam Harrison. It's all one word, all caps. You can link in the description to get that stuff. And let me know your thoughts on all discussed this week from the releases, trailers, and news stories of what you may have seen and what your thoughts on all the stuff that came out as. But with that, I'm gonna let you go for now. So as always, you will stay wonderful people. Have a great day every day, do many great things, and keeping you because no one's do what you do. My name is Sam, of course. I've been your host, and I will see you all in the next episode. So take care, and I'll see you later.